This is Sharon with Entelechy Visions, and this is an energy update for the week of November 9th through November 15th. So we continue on with a very powerful, transformative month that we are moving through. Presently, as I'm recording this update, we have still not heard the final results of the election. So we are still moving through the kind of inertia and delays that this entire week has brought. And not to get too political on it, but more of the energetic structure that has taken place throughout this entire election process is the influence of all of this very slow moving energy that has kind of added a dose of purpose and effect to it as well. Because when we are being patient and we are waiting for something that we have been anticipating, and also coupled with the fact that we're still under the influence of the pandemic this year, so there's a lot of stillness that we have still been moving through. That this stillness is kind of combined by the stillness of these slow moving results. And so that added element of the effect factor of revealing something very slowly so that it's holding more of a purpose for us, kind of waiting for that eventual answer. So this is all kind of being emphasized right now by the Mercury that just moved direct on election day. And not to kind of backtrack as we want to talk about the week ahead, however, just kind of reflecting back on how this election process has panned out and Mercury really contributing to those delays, but since it's moving direct, we're kind of picking up that speed. That clarity is eventually going to be returning. And as you listen to this update, the second week of November, that clarity will have even more of that speed, of that momentum. And this is not just touching on the collective themes or the election themes. This is touching on our own personal lives and the fog or the delays, the slowness that we've been moving through throughout the entire month of October, even September. October was not an easy month. There was a lot of dredging up of truths. There was a lot of healing taking place. There was a lot of resetting, maybe some shocking issues that arose. So as we move further into the month of November, we are continuing that integration of all of that. And that can be at times an integration of our emotions, of our feelings. And the slow traction that we have been moving through, it will be contributing to this more of a release or culmination surrounding our emotional process this coming week, as we have some powerful alignments that are going to be contributing to that. When the planet Mars is going to be moving direct around the 13th, Mars is the warrior planet. It is the planet that is all about action, about forward movement, about really putting that fuel to the fire. And so it's felt as though we have not had the fuel to our fire. So you may have found that a lot of things just weren't getting off the ground. Things just weren't moving forward. That stagnation, kind of feeling like you were stuck in concrete, has felt even more so in the last month or so. So this is a very, very big release point that we'll be moving through this week, where we have the clarity of Mercury on our side. We have Mars that's going to be moving forward again. And so we'll have a little bit more of that kick in our step. We'll have more of that momentum that will build as the weeks start to pan out. We've kind of been moving through this since September, so that kind of inaction theme or flavor to our lives has really felt very limiting. That we may have felt very limited in our own freedom, in our own sense of expression, our creativity. We may have felt limited on many, many different levels. And it did have its purpose to really ask us to slow down and do that whole reassessment of our relationships, of our projects, of how we're involved in things and where we're involved in. And we're taking all of those lessons now, and we are moving now into November. And as we start this week and we get ready for this Mars direct on the 13th, we're taking all that we have learned and we are now bringing it with us into this forward movement. And we will now use those themes and those lessons toward how we are going to act and how we are going to choose to move ahead from this point forward. Another side of this direct forward motion of Mars this week is that it can dredge up a little bit of, or maybe a lot of agitation, irritation around the inertia or anything that had been kind of stuffed down, suppressed. Mars can really represent the expression of anger, that warrior aggression. So as it went backwards, we kind of suppressed that or kind of channeled it in a different way. And now this can really bring that up and out, anything that may not have been expressed or said, or maybe you've just kind of been holding on to in some way, that can more easily come up and out right now. So just keeping in mind that that's an added influence this week. So if you're feeling some extra agitation, irritation, just be mindful of how you are channeling that, how you are directing that, and where you are directing that at. So healthfully channel that energy, and a very healthy way to do that is to really transform it into passion, to transform any anger, irritation into creation, into fueling your forward momentum in the days ahead. So you can use that as that fuel to really propel you forward in the right direction, and to not use it as something to lash out at others or to direct it in a spot that's not needed. And this can also kind of bubble up and come out right now in the collective as well. So any kind of suppressed agitation, irritation, you may find some fiery aggression kind of emerging around that as well collectively. So with that, we have a couple days after that happens, we have a very, very powerful super new moon in the sign of Scorpio on the 15th. And this super new moon is part of a series of super new moons. It's the third one. And it's kind of been a building factor. It's been kind of slowly building with power, with intensity for new beginnings. And a super new moon means that it is closer to the earth. So the impact upon us is more potent than just a regular new moon. A new moon is already about a new beginning. So this kind of amplifies even more that new beginning. Scorpio being that sign of emotions, of water. This is a rather intense new moon because it has us kind of diving into the depths of our own internal emotional processes. And you may find that emotions are rather heightened around the new moon. It is also influenced by the direct forward motion of Mars a couple days before that. So it's kind of like they're sandwiching together and could cause or evoke a lot of primal emotions to emerge, to unleash in some way. So a lot of releases happening for everyone and collectively as well. However, this is a time to really remind yourself to rise above the fray, as I've been saying, to rise above the chaos. And I know that's easier said than done. We've been moving through quite a bit over the last week or so, over the entire year, but the intensity or the quality of it has really shifted on some level since we moved into November. So with that, it's a good reminder to try to rise above the chaos, that this entire season of Scorpio is a lot about the phoenix rising from the ashes. So we are in a sense of having a rebirth individually and on a collective level, of rising above, out of the old ways, out of the old self, and really rebirthing ourselves. That October acted as that element of bringing back that balance, understanding the lessons, the truths in our life. And now this month, this season is all about integrating that and also creating. Because when we rise above out of an old way, we rise out of the ashes of our old self, we are transforming. We are shaping into something completely new, completely different. So this is a good moment, as intense as it may be. We are creating something new, and there is this release because all of that inertia that we have been moving through will now pick up pace, and you may find that that forward movement feels a lot better than that stagnation, that inertia that we have been kind of diving into for a large part of this year. So as you move into this new moon, you may find that a deep healing process arises surrounding the emotional releases and purges. However, this is necessary to look at as well, even though it may be a release point and a new beginning. In order to really do that and have a new chapter, a new way of doing things, maybe how you are contributing into the world now, we have to address and really look at our fears, our doubts, maybe a shadow side of ourselves that we need to really address in order to step into and rise up into that new form of ourselves. So it's almost like we are rising and we are also looking back upon the ashes at the same time. So that's kind of an image that I'm being shown right now, is that we are taking flight, we are building on that momentum, we are rising and kind of getting that energy again. And it may not feel so right now, but as we get into the later part of the week where these influences start to kind of seep in, you may notice the quality of the energy really picks up pace. And so as we are rising, as we're taking flight, we are also honoring, we are also reflecting upon and noticing the integration and the old way and the ashes that we have just risen from, the dismantling of our world, the dismantling of what we used to be living within, the old way, the old normal, now has shaped itself and really created something completely different. And we are that culmination of all of that integration. We are that phoenix rising, but we are the product of this entire year that we have now shaped into all the pieces and the puzzle parts of that transformation, of the dismantling, of the looking upon our emotions, of the introspection of ourselves, our relationships, our life path, our purpose, and all the many pieces that have really reorchestrated themselves throughout this entire year. That is what the Phoenix is really shaping into right now, is that we are new. We are completely new. And this is part of that emotional integration with this super new moon, is embracing that we have shed the old. We are not going back to that. And that may arise some fears, that may arise some doubts, it may arise some apprehension, because we can find comfort in what we have known. But as we move forward, this is a new way. This is a new time on the planet, and you are a new you. And so this super new moon is really embracing that part and also acknowledging any fears that may arise surrounding that. And to know that you are safe and that all of this has its divine plan and purpose. That whatever is arising out of you and that you have shaped into being is exactly how you should be and exactly where you should be heading. So trust in this unfoldment and this entire process and the beautiful alignment that all of these seasons have really evoked out of us, all of the healing that has taken place in the divine perfection that it has. So as we pick up speed, we will find that we also have another powerful alignment taking place as well this week. So this is a pretty power-packed week as we move forward into this. The alignment that started off this year in January, that was kind of a historical alignment, is resurfacing again for another go-round. And we're kind of already feeling that with this election season, with all that's kind of emerging in the outer world as a response to it, and all of that. This is resurfacing again, but it's holding a different kind of purpose because it is having us revisit an area of our life that may have gone through a complete overhaul throughout this entire year. And with this final alignment in this spot, it is asking you to move into a new chapter with it. And so if you can look back on what has kind of been gutted in your life, and I know that's a kind of an intense word, but this year has done that, maybe for one area, multiple areas of your life. So look at those areas or that area and see what this alignment is asking for you in that area, because it's inviting you to really trust at this point, and also it's fueling a sense of power for what you have learned through that area, for what you have grown into from that area as a result. And this is part of the entire process. So nothing to fear. This perfect alignment is actually inviting you to embrace how that has all transpired and what it looks like now for you. So I would like to share with you the channeled message for this week to offer you hope and inspiration, to remind you to stay in the light, to take care of yourself, to stay grounded, to stay rooted, to turn to your self-care practices and tools at this time, and to know that any way that things look right now, everything is exactly as it should be. When we rise to face a new day, we may feel weary of what has come before, not just in a small span of time, but from eons of the old that has shaped us evermore. And in our new form, we embrace a new way, one that may not solidify just yet in our outer life, but the rhythm gains in stride as we heed the call to shape a new song in the hearts and ears of those who hear. Stand tall and open your heart. The time to express is now, for the tune your heart sings is quite different from the eons of the old. So I leave you with that message for the week. If you need additional support at this time, I am offering remote services and in-person sessions. You can learn more at enteleckyvisions.com. I invite you to like and subscribe to this channel, as it does help to support the channel. I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead. Stay strong, stay in the light, and I thank you for listening.